Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, today I had the honor to be invited here and to speak about Krishna. And it's a wonderful opportunity because I presume everybody is here is believing in God, at least. So there are many people who believe in God. We take, for example, most of the people who believe in God, they say, God is great. Yeah? And that's good. And what kind of relation is this? This is a awe and reverence. These people acknowledge the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They acknowledge that He is a person. Although here, at that point, this can be a little bit disputed. There is something, like in many religions, it's forbidden to depict the Lord. They say, God is so great, He is unimaginable, you should not, with your frail human fingers, with your weak intelligence, to try to depict God. Which is, in a sense, correct. Because if somebody will make, say, our wonderful Bhaktin Emma, if somebody will make an image of Bhaktin Emma just by drawing some, curves and slap some paper, paint on the paper, yeah, you can call it, that's a portrait of Bhaktin Emma. But somebody took care and made a portrait. And this is an authorized portrait because it's made from the true, from the original, from the true image. In a similar way, especially when Krishna, how it is in our tradition, describes, I'm looking like this. Quite astonishing sometimes, because blue boy, what is this? Do you see many blue boys hanging around here? No. You see people of all kinds of colors, from somewhat white to pitch black, but no blue boys running around. But Krishna is special. That's also a little bit a challenge to accept. How can it be possible? I can refer to Lord Ramachandra being a greenish color. That's also, what is this? Unimaginable for us. But still, God is great. Everything is possible for Him. And one of the reasons that He is showing Himself, displaying Himself the way He does, is to challenge us a little bit, to test us, to test our conviction, our understanding, our belief. Well, some people believe in the impersonal oneness. Everything is one, as they say. Historically speaking, it starts from everything is nothing. Buddhists, like for example, they acknowledge that the material world is full of problems, is full of misery, full of misunderstandings, different grievances. What they propose, they say, it's all illusion. And if you understand that your suffering is an illusion, you cannot suffer. Yeah? Logical, yeah? And if you are suffering anyway, when you understand that actually you do not even exist, how can anybody who is not even existing to suffer? Not possible. So this is a Buddhism idea. It's called Shunyavada. And Srila Prabhupada, in his pranam mantra, is called Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Because it's exactly what Srila Prabhupada came to cast away. Then it comes Shankaracharya, who is none other as an incarnation of Lord Shiva, because historically Buddhism, due to the influence of time, the Vedic civilization, the Vedic philosophy was disreputed itself, especially by the animal offerings. Because you see, in the Vedas, actually, you can find references to killing of the animals in the sacrifice. What modern people do not understand, that these animals were given an advantageous, a new rebirth, more or less immediately, because they were qualified brahmanas, they were chanting mantras properly, they could do that. But as Lord Krishna himself describes in Bhagavad Gita, when a time comes, everything degrades, and then Krishna appears from age to age to age to age to re-establish paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam, to uplift the innocent and to punish the miscreants. And sometimes he comes himself, and that's a rare occasion. We are very happy. We are actually historically very close. Only 5,000 years since Krishna, the Lord himself, was, touching with his lotus feet this earth. So we are very close in time. Then comes, sometimes Krishna sends his representatives. So Buddha, as we know, he is one of the Dasha avatars. He is not just anybody else, or, misleading. He misled people, yes, but he took them away from the wrong conception, the degraded conception of the Vedic culture and civilization, where people started to slaughter animals and just, oh, that's prasadam, that's prasadam. So let's kill some animals and, offer them and then eat. That's prasadam. So in the sake of religiosity, so to say, dharma, they upheld adharma. And Krishna came himself as, one of the Dasha avatars, as Buddha, to stop it completely. And he succeeded. And Buddhism took over India, especially when Emperor Ashoka came to power. He made it a state religion. But there is a paradox. Whenever state touches with his dirty hands, becomes like in the Greek history, it was a King Midas. He asked for superpower. Whatever he touches turned into gold. But then he died from starvation because his food also turned into gold. So the problem with state religion is just like that. Whatever state the power touches, especially spiritual matters, turns into, not gold, the opposite of it. It reminds me of a story of, was it Chanakya Pandit, who was very intelligent. He was an advisor and to a king. But being a Brahmana, he remained outside of the king palace. I think he was even living in the shack outside of the city. And king couldn't tolerate it. He said, I build you a good house. He said, no, thank you, no need. No, but king felt, I have to do it. So eventually he did. But when Chanakya Pandit heard it, he immediately left this kingdom. Why? Because being a Brahmana, what is quality of Brahmana? Truthfulness. He was telling king things as they were. He didn't care if he is king or not. If some minister steals, he says, that's a thief. He says to the king, you are doing something wrong. This is wrong, this is wrong. But when he is, so to say, taking a food from the hand of the king. He wasn't free anymore. And he was so concerned with this freedom that it was more than any material conveyances for him, money, name, fame. So, yes, Buddhism became a state religion. And then it took over the whole India. And then it started to spread around. But being Shunyavada, this is not really a Vedic statement. This is not a Vedic truth. It's not leading a person anywhere. Mayavada is bringing, which is the next step. Then Shankaracharya comes. And his teaching spread all over and pushed Buddhism out of India. You can see what is like 1% of India is Buddhists, about that. And everything else, all the Buddhists are around because of Shankaracharya. So he spread a key concept of Shankaracharya, everything is one, which is not entirely incorrect. Actually, it is so. Everything is one, because everything is Krishna's energy. We are also Krishna's energy. So, but, and then, of course, we have this philosophy was spread. So this is a Brahmavada, knowledge of Brahman. Then, of course, people were ripened, and Madhava came. And Madhava is famous for his dualism. He has two fingers. There's Jiva, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Prakriti and Purusha, right to say. So, and there's Paraprakriti, Supreme, and Aparaprakriti, lower energy. So he established the concept of dualism. And only with Lord Chaitanya came the union, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, which is a supreme philosophical understanding of the reality. Achintya, inconceivable. Bheda Abheda Tattva, truth. So simultaneously one and different. So Krishna is one with us. As he says himself in the Bhagavad Gita, all beings are in me, but I am not in them. But how it is possible? Yes, he is, in a sense, but not directly. As Paramatma, Antantarasta Paramanuche Antarastam, I'm in everybody's heart as Paramatma, and I'm also in every atom. Imagine that. How many more than stars in the sky, in the whole universe, so many atoms we have in our body, and Krishna is in every each of them. It's amazing. That's the power of the Lord. So the verse I specifically wanted to talk about is 10 from 10th canto, 2nd chapter, text 32. But before that, before going through the verse itself, which is wonderful, and Srila Prabhupada refers to it in quite a number of places, in fact, and it's very touching. I want to first to go through Bhagavad Gita and establish some truths about Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, everybody accepts Bhagavad Gita. You know, of course, Mayavadis, impersonalists, they have their own interpretation. They say, oh, it's not, in many instances, Krishna says about not himself, but to the unborn within himself, referring to Brahman again. We, in the Vaishnava tradition, we do not accept this reality. And Krishna himself does not accept that too. I'll just go through some chosen verses from Bhagavad Gita. So, 7, 6, 7, 7. Etadionini bhutani sarvanityu padharayam aham krishnasya jagatam prabhava pralayashtatam. All created beings have their sources in these two natures of what is material and what is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin and the solution. Not bad, huh? So, next, 7, 7. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchid asti jananjaya Mai sarvam idam pratam sutre maniganaiva. O conqueror of wealth, he refers to Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on the thread. So Krishna is all-pervading here. So we go to the next wonderful shloka. Maya tata, that's from 9.4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagata vyaktamurtina matstani sarva bhutani na chaham teshvavastitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. That's interesting. That's, again, inconceivable. All beings are in me, but I am not in them, although it's a contradictory. But here Krishna refers to his personal presence as Bhagavan. He is present, like comparison is to the king. King is ruling the state, but he is not going to every nook and corner and every village. He is having his ministers, he has his governors, he has his representatives on the spot. So king is distributed through the state, but physically he is not. He is in his royal palace getting reports, eating a good meal, and so on and so on. Having a good rest, hopefully. In a similar way, Krishna makes this distinction here. So, we take the next good verse. Chapter 10, the opulence of Absolute. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mataha sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. Again, everything. It's a complete. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Here we come a little bit. You see, Bhagavad Gita being, how to say, a short course, which is not amazing, considering that it was spoken to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Some people say in half an hour. Other wise men say in 40 minutes. It doesn't matter. It was less than an hour in any case. The whole Bhagavad Gita. And Arjuna, being a man of previous age, previous time, he could understand that. He is also, of course, he was also an intimate associate of Krishna, and not anybody has special souls, eternal associates of the Lord. So, the wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. And that's a good hint for all of us. This is not it is highest truth, but it's very simple in fact. Krishna consciousness, as Srila Prabhupada said, is very simple for simple people and can be very complicated for those whose mind is. And we touch in this verse this concept of complex mind. Here is just a little preparation. Now we are coming to the, again in chapter 10 verse 39 and 42. 39. Yacchapi sarva bhutanam bijam tadaham arjuna na tadasti vinayatsyan maya bhutan chara charam. Furthermore, Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no being, moving or unmoving, then that can exist without me. Wow. Wow. Just comprehend that. We cannot exist without Krishna. And unmoving, he refers to trees, mountains. So, but we are egoistic, all of us are egoists, otherwise we wouldn't be here. Me, I wouldn't be here without Krishna. Yeah, father, mother, yes, of course, but they are mediums. You would not be here without Krishna. That's kind of brain shaking. Verse 32, 10th chapter. Know that all opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Here we get a little perspective. Here is Krishna and here is a material realm. Whatever beautiful, a beautiful woman, a beautiful flower, an object of art, a beautiful song. It's just a spark of my splendor, Krishna says. In another verse, there is a reference that in a spiritual world, every step is a dance and every word is a song. So here we walk, we speak, occasionally we sing. For example, nice kirtan is a transcendental, it's spiritual, it's wonderful, but even the most beautiful manifestation is just but a spark of spiritual energy. My splendor, Krishna says here. Then we go to 11th chapter, the universal form. And here we have verse 38. Tvam adideva purusha puranas, tvam asya vishvasya param nidhanam, vitasi vedyam chaparam chadhamam, tvayatatam vishvam anantarupam. Arjuna here is singing glorious of the Supreme Lord. You are, that's Arjuna's acknowledgement, the original personality of Godhead, the oldest Purana, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes, all limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. And he speaks here about the universal form, Vishvarupa, which is just a partial, tiny part of Krishna's full splendor and manifestation. Arjuna is completely, totally overwhelmed by it. So, and of course, as a icing on the cake, they say, we go to 15th chapter, and 15th chapter, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, verse 7. Mamaivamsha jiva lokehe jiva bhuta sanatana manasam stani driyani prakriti stani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal, fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So, eternal, fragmental parts. So, here we come to the position of the atheists. Krishna is so incredibly great. You can be, yes, You can deny Krishna. You can say there is no God. That's fine. Krishna just said, all right, I'm sorry for you, but because you have this divine freedom, you can. You can say God doesn't exist. But for those people, we have a wonderful Russian writer, Mikhail Bulgakov. So he wrote a very complicated thing, and a novel. And there, exactly this point is, there is an atheist who discusses with devil very convincingly that no, God doesn't exist. Then devil just becomes, completely messed up. He said, he nearly convinced me that even I do not exist. So Krishna allows either you work with one sort of Maya, or you work with another sort of Maya, Mahamaya or Yoga Maya. The choice is yours. It's up to you. What do you want? If you want not to see God, I do not see you people sitting here. No, you do not exist. I do not see you. Where are you? How can you prove you do exist? I do not see you. You do not exist. So, the position of the atheist is just like that. But it's self-inflicted. It's your choice. If you're atheist, it's because it's your choice. And Krishna is so magnanimous. He is so great that he is allowing you to be an atheist. He is allowing you to say, who is this Krishna? Who is this God? I know no God. Yeah, sure. Because you do not want to know God. That's how it is. So, and here is a very nice statement. Due to conditioned life, they're struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. And of course, they are suffering due to the body, and they are suffering due to the mind. And it's a big, big, big question, which suffering are worse. And if a person is somewhat elevated in his inner spiritual development, then the suffering of the mind is predominant. Because, like, let's say, I take the astrological example, since I gave a lot of time to astrology at a certain point in my life. The sun is governing an external manifestation of the person, a success. A well-positioned sun can give an influence over people, ruling power, a lot of money, you can be a king, but the moon rules the mind, emotions. And I've seen people and their charts where sun is wonderful and the moon is just completely squashed. And externally they are so good. They're having the fanciest cars, a lot of, they command hundreds of people, and inside they're just miserable, miserable, miserable wretches. And they just think, they drink, they take drugs when they can. Just get away from this, suffering of the mind. That's how powerful is the mind, is above. And if the mind is on the right path, then life is much better. And now the last direct quote from Bhagavad Gita I want to present is well known. It's 15:15. Sarvasya chaham hridisa nivishto mataha smritir jnanam apohanam cha vidayascha sarvairaham eva vidyo Vedanta Krit Vedavit Eva Chaham. Here Krishna goes to the core. I am seated in everyone's heart. And from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. So, here is what I mentioned before. Krishna is sitting in everybody's heart. It's a what we normal people call conscience. When you're doing something wrong, there is a little voice inside which says, hey, it's better you don't do it. But of course, you are free. you don't have to listen. There is another Vedic comparison. Dva suparna sayuja samstaya, if I remember it right. Two birds are sitting on the same branch of tree. One is eating the fruits. And sometimes the fruit is sweet. And the bird is enjoying, the fruit is so sweet. And another time the fruit is bitter. Oh, it's so terrible. It's a bitter fruit. Oh, or sour, super sour. Oh! But another bird is simply sitting there and watching. And giving little advice. Hey, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. You are free. You're free. You're free to deny God's existence. You're free to do anything you want, but you're not free from the consequences. Because the moment you turn your back to Krishna, the moment we all, because the fact that we are here, because there are two kinds of living entities, Nitya Siddha and Nitya Baddha. Nitya Siddha are eternally liberated people. Their only business, if they are here around, their only business is here to eliminate us, to lift us up. And everybody else is Nitya Baddha. We are here. Are there too many Nitya Siddhas sitting here? Maybe. Then I bow down and crawl in the lotus dust of your feet. I'd wish so. Nitya Siddhas! Haribol! Well, anyway, there. Or they were. Lord himself, in the form of Lord Chaitanya, where his blessed feet were touching the blessed land of Gauda in Bengal. As Lord Chaitanya, the chain of acharyas, our disciplic succession, parampara, were here. They were writing, they were preaching, they are trying to uplift us. Srila Prabhupada is the last in the chain of these acharyas who direct came with no other mission than to liberate all of us from the whole world. And that's how it is. Then we have, of course, our spiritual masters of not everybody is a lucky one to meet Srila Prabhupada, but he left his noble people to keep the torch of knowledge. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torch of knowledge. So, this torch of knowledge through Lord Chaitanya, through Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada is carried even today. So there is a full opportunity to be in touch with that knowledge. Now, that was a long introduction, but I felt it was necessary, because before we listen to this absolutely fantastic verse and commentaries of Srila Prabhupada, I felt it was important to establish who Krishna is, to understand what we are talking about. The verse is 10:2-32. Yenye ravindaksha vimukta maninas tvayasta bhavada vishudha buddhayam aruhya krichrena param padam tataham patantyatho nadrita yushmad angrayam. Ye anye, anyone or all others. Aravinda aksha, or lotus-eyed one. Such a beautiful comparison. Aravinda aksha, or lotus-eyed one. Vimukta manina, falsely considering themselves free from the bondage of material contamination. Твои, unto you, ashtabhavat, speculating in various ways, but not knowing or desiring more information of your lotus feet. Avishutha buddhaya, those intelligence is still not purified, and who do not know the goal of life. Aruhya, even though achieving krichrina, by undergoing severe austerities, penances, and hard labor, param padam, the highest position, according to their imagination and speculation. Tataha, from that position, patanti, they fall. Adha, down into the material existence again. Anadhrita, neglecting devotion to. Yusmad, your. Anghraya, lotus feet. So, the translation is, someone may say that aside from devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees, but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and other demigods said, that was in introduction to this verse, O Lotus Eye Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard to your lotus feet. Purport. Aside from devotees, there are many others, non-devotees, known as karmis, jnanis, or yogis, philanthropists, altruists, politicians, impersonalists, and voidists. Voidists, that's, as we said, followers of there are many varieties of non-devotees who have their respective way of liberation, but simply because they do not know the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, although they falsely think that they have been liberated and elevated to highest position, they fall down. As clearly said in Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 9.3, Ashradadhanam purushaha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, or conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material world. It doesn't matter whether one is karmic, jnani, yogi, philanthropist, politician, or whatever. If one has no love for the lotus feet of the Lord, one falls down. This is a verdict given by Lord Brahma in this verse. So, continue. There are persons who advocate any process, who say that whatever process one accepts will lead to the same goal. But that is refuted in this verse, where such person is referred to as vimukta manina, signifying that although they think they have attained the highest perfection, in fact they have not. The impersonalists quote this verse, yatama tata tapata. Whatever path you take is good enough. So that's about this. In the present day, big politicians all over the world think by scheming they can occupy the highest political post, that of president or prime minister. But we actually see that even in this life, such big prime ministers, presidents, and other politicians, because of being non-devotees, fall down. Patantadha. To become president or prime minister is not easy. One must work very hard, aruhya krichrina, to achieve this post. And even though one may reach his goal, at any moment one may be kicked down by material nature. In human society, there have been many instances in which great exalted politicians have fallen from government and became lost in historical oblivion. The cause of this is avishuddha buddhaya, their intelligence is impure. The Shastra says Na te vidu svartagatim hi Vishnu. Bhagavatam 7.5.31. One achieves the perfection of life by becoming a devotee of Vishnu, but people do not know this. Therefore, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 12.5, klesho dihakarashte sam avyakta sakta chetasam. People who do not ultimately accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead and take to devotional service, and who instead are attached to impersonalism and voidism, must undergo great labor to achieve their goals. To achieve understanding, such persons work very hard and undergo severe austerities, but their hard labor and austerities themselves are their only achievement, for they do not actually achieve the real goal of life. Dhruva Maharaj at first wanted to achieve the greatest material kingdom and greater material possession than his father. But when he was actually favored by the Lord who appeared before him to give him the benediction he desired, Dhruva Maharaj refused it, saying, Svamin kritartho smi varam na yache. Now I am fully satisfied. I do not want any material benediction. It's in a Hari Bhakti Sudadaya. This is a perfection of life. Yam labdva cha param labham manyate nadhikam tataha. If one achieves the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, one is fully satisfied and doesn't need to ask for any material benediction. At night, no one can see a lotus, for lotuses blossom only during the daytime. Therefore, the word Aravindaksha is significant. One who is not captivated by the lotus eyes or transcendental form of the Supreme Lord is in darkness, exactly like one who cannot see a lotus. One who doesn't come to the point of seeing the lotus eyes and transcendental form of Shyamasundar is a failure. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokanyanti. Brahma Sutra 538. Those who are attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in love always see the Lord's lotus eyes and lotus feet, whereas others cannot see the Lord's beauty and are therefore classified as anadhrita yushmat angraya, or neglectful of the Lord's personal form. Those who neglect the Lord's form are surely failures in every path in life. But if one develops even a little love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is liberated without difficulty. Svalpama pyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead recommends in Bhagavad Gita 9.34, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Simply think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer slight homage to me. Simply by this process, one is guaranteed to return home, back to Godhead, and thus attain the highest perfection. The Lord further affirms in Bhagavad Gita 18.54-55, Brahma bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kankshati samah sarvetu bhutishu madbhaktim labhade param. Bhaktya mama bijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvataha tatomam tatvato gyatva vishate tad anartaram. One who is in this thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments, nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In this state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. That was a big mouthful. Om Gyanatimurandasya Gyananjana Shalokaya Chakshuran Militam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. This verse I referred to previously. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. This is so wonderful. This is so wonderful because it shows clearly the path. It shows our condition, the way and the goal. Like Lord Chaitanya, he said clearly that the Vedic literature is meant for understanding three things. One, our relationship with our absolute supreme personality of Godhead. Then proper action in that understanding. And then finally, at the end, to achieve the highest perfection of life, love of Krishna. So, Parampadam. Parampadam, Mayavadis, the followers of Shankaracharya, they also refer to merging into Brahman, dissolution of the existence. Like I mentioned to that followers of Nirvishesha, they cancel the existence. You are nothing. And then you don't suffer. Mayavadis, they say, everything, sarva kalvidam brahma. Everything is Brahman. And if you understand that, then what's the problem? Everything is one. Somebody kicks me in the nose, but he is also me. I'm also him. We are all Brahman. Actually, it doesn't matter. So it's a still form of negation, but it's impersonalism. So Mayavada. But still, they say that when you reach the state of understanding of Brahman, that everything will be, all the problems disappear. They will, yes. But what is Brahman? Brahman is Brahmajyoti, is an effulgence of the Lord. So it's impersonal, it's all-pervading, it's a pure light, and nothing else. Problem is, this is a contrary to the quality of the soul. The soul, individuals, we need variety. In fact, there were psychological experiments when people were placed in a completely soundproof environment and chambers, and many people, they start to get uneasy after 10 minutes. Very few can stand 1 hour, and I think the record was about 3 hours. And that's a very tiny resemblance of Brahman. And here was only one sensus, a hearing, which was cut away. You know, this is maddening. We cannot exist like this, because the world starts to produce the form, phantoms, and this and that. You start to hear the sounds which are not around, because the soul is active. We need action. So, and as it is said in this verse, Avishuddha buddhaya, intelligence is impure. Shuddha is pure. Avishuddha is impure. Buddhaya, buddhi is intelligent. So, if your intelligence is impure and you still want to attempt to reach the Brahman state, yes, you can. But then what happens later? Patanti adha. To pat means fall down in Sanskrit. Adha means down. So you fall down because after a while in this beautiful light, you just cannot stand it anymore. And boom, you're falling down. But of course, we say like this, that people who made this much endeavor, they struggled so hard by by jnanis or yogis. They do not come as some average man on the street. They get a good birth. They might come to Brahmaloka or Satyaloka and live there, but it's still a material world. They're highest worlds, but still it's material. And there the quality of the word is kshinya punya martialo kam vishanti. When the good power, the punya, is exhausted, it's like a bank account. If you do not put in the bank account and just take from it, you end with nothing. So then patantadha, then you fall down. And then, of course, in the material world, nothing is guaranteed. There is no guarantee that your next birth will be, although we have a little, prasadam, is a little mercy. So it is said that whoever tastes prasadam, even unknowingly, will get at least a human birth. So, but that's a little secret. Normally, you can be a bug, you can be a worm, you can be a dog next life, might be a human, might be a demigod. It's because of this balance of papa and punya, the good and bad actions of your life. But there is no devotion here. So you are like a little boat which is completely thrown in a huge ocean with huge waves which throwing you left and right, and you cannot control. You can have a, you can row a little bit left and right, but my goodness, what a miserable attempt. You simply cannot fight the almighty ocean. And you cannot fight the forces of Maya. Sometimes people say, like in India, they say, occasionally say, oh, I'm so good. I calculate all my papa and punya. I did this good. So he writes a little note. Yeah, and then I can I can drink a little bit, smoke a little bit bidi, or something like this. Like it's okay. I'm balanced. Well. Not to speak about this. It's a cheating propensity. It's exploiting your, trying to cheat yourself around the spiritual life. But it doesn't really work. This is an attempt to row a tiny little boat in a huge ocean. Like, yes, anybody sitting here remembers what they've done, say, 8 days ago. Let's say at 4:25, 8 days ago exactly. You remember? Yeah, probably you knew what you were doing exactly. But still, it's a lucky chance. You had a special occasion, I presume. That's why you remember. Norm, you ask me, I don't remember. I was doing something. I can and figure it out something, but most probably not. I've been busy. But that much I can say. But anyway, the point is that it's just an example. Normally we do not even remember a few days ago, happenings a few days ago. Some years ago, my goodness, forget about it. Previous life, oh! In fact, this it's Krishna's mercy that we do not remember the happenings of the previous life, because we have enough this lifetime. We have such a mess, normally speaking, materially speaking. Well, maybe there are some lucky people whose life is very structured, very ordered, and everything flows very smoothly and sweetly. I'm not one of them, but it's like, I'm happy for these people, but normally it's this and that, and you need to solve this problem and that problem and this and that, and it's like, like recipes. Always remember Krishna and never forget him. Oi, 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 oi. To that I can say that Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, was also a family man. He was a businessman too. He had very busy life. He had 4 children, and wife, and so on and so on. He made a very good arrangement. He chanted 16 rounds. He chanted 4 in the morning, 4 before the lunch, 4 in the afternoon, and 4 in the evening. So that was something tangible, easy to do, easy to accomplish. So he tackled the problem. It is possible, but it's difficult. We all know how difficult it is. But anyway, the point here is that vimukta maninam. We have not much to boast about our achievements. Even if you are president, even if you are like a big shot, you cannot take it with you. Because, like I mentioned, this Russian writer and his novel, there was, in the discussion with this atheist, the devil, so to say, said that, well, but you have one last evidence, and this evidence will be soon delivered to you. And yes, the man was killed in an accident, just as it was described to him. Although he had too many plans. So everything, which is everybody who is born, has to die. It's a body, because we do associate ourselves with a body. And at the time of death, everything will be taken away. Your wife, a beautiful, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your children you love so much. Your wealth, a big palace, or 10 palaces, or the big boat, or 2 boats, or 10 boats. Your kingdom, if you are a king. But all of that, it comes a time of death. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita very clearly, for these people, Mrityu sarvaharashchaham, and I'm the all-devouring death. And you can be as much atheist as you want. You can close your eyes, there is no Krishna, there is no spiritual life, there is nothing, zero, shunya, no, everything is one, no, everything. And then comes death, and everything is taken away. Hari, a thief, he's stealing from you, everything. But it's not entirely correct. There is one thing which is always remaining with you. Whatever little you do for Krishna, whatever little you do for preaching the message of the Lord, that is always, eternally remains with you. And this is what you carry with you in this, through this life, hopefully in this life and in the next life. And we all hope, of course, on Krishna's mercy and our spiritual masters and our superior devotees to guide us throughout this life. And there is every single chance that Krishna will be merciful. Lord is all merciful, as everybody say. And on that line, I want to, optimistic note, I want to thank you for this wonderful opportunity to talk about Krishna. And if you have questions, comments, please.
So what shall we do to get out of here?
Prabhupada said, just add Krishna. Unless you are working in a slaughterhouse,
But I mean, what?
Yad karashi, yad ashnasi, yad juhashi, dadasi yat, whatever you do, whatever you give away, just do that as a sacrifice to me. That's all. Just add Krishna. And the more you do that, I know, I'm myself struggling with that. It's difficult. Try. The more you make this endeavor, Krishna is in your heart. He knows it.
But the most important thing is the mantra,
Of course.
God's holy name.
Yes.
I mean, that's the only medicine.
Lord Chaitanya brought this to us. Srila Prabhupada brought it to us. Indeed, thank you for correction. I was not specific enough. And chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because that's a Yuga Dharma. This is what specifically prescribed to us. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just simply listen to that. Try to listen. I myself do that. Oh yes, I have to chant my rounds. Yes, yes, yes. Shnik, shnik, nyam, nyam. Shnik, 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 nyam, nyam. Oh, try to hear. Try to hear. Try to hear what you pronounce. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hear. Shravanam Kirtanam. So, more questions? Yes, please.
Can you read our chakras?
Can I?
Can you read our chakras?
I'm completely ignorant. I know nothing. I only heard from, repeat from the books, like a parrot. What spiritual master said to me. As long as I'm doing that, I'm okay. But more than that, please don't ask.
You mentioned 6 sufferings, including mind. Can you elaborate on the difference between mind and intelligence and how that work together?
The different manifestations of the modes of material nature. Was it mind? Mind is a product of Raja Guna, and intelligence is product of Sattva Guna, if I have it right. That's just a different manifestation of that.
The question is, how are they affecting your suffering? What is actually suffering? Your mind or your intelligence?
Intelligence is not suffering. Intelligence is accepting, rejecting, is a filter. Mind is an active agent. This is false ego, representation, direct representation of false ego. I am this body. And as long as you are living in that condition, you're suffering with your senses. If you get a nail in your hand or foot, you suffer. And if you get a nail in your mind, so to say, a prick in your mind, you suffer here. So it's just a different form of suffering, more gross, more subtle. So ultimately it doesn't matter. Because we are here, we are failures. It's hard to accept. But this is the beginning of spiritual understanding. From there you can grow. If you understand you are here, you have a lot to grow. If you think vimukta manina, that what is spoken here in this verse, vimukta manina, if you feel yourself liberated, it's tough. It's tough. It's also in in Master and Margaret. It said, a devil comes and there's a low stool to sit on, and he says, "Oh, I prefer to sit low. It's not so hard to fall." Я предпочитаю сидеть низко, не так высоко падать. So I prefer to sit low. It's not hard to fall. So if you intentionally and consciously take the lower position, you won't fall so hard. But if you are vimukta maninam, oh, I am so great, I am so intelligent, I am so powerful, be prepared. And even if your material life will be okay, which might be but might be not, then mrityu sarvaharashaham comes the last word. And sit low. Take a low attitude within your heart. I'm not advocating that everybody should spit on you and slap on your cheek and you just no. Material world requires material means. You act. You do what is necessary within yourself. When it comes to spiritual state, keep yourself low. That's a safe position. Did I answer your question? But ask if you... okay. Prabhu? Ladies? Then I thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to talk about Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
It's honor for us to have you here. Thank you.
Ciao. Thank you.